Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Smequle, and in today's video, we are going to be getting rid of every 2018 All-Star player in NBA 2K19, then simulating an NBA season to find out who will win. So first off, I'm going to actually go through all of the All-Star players who we did remove. I did not include anybody that got injured and did not end up playing in the All-Star game. So Kevin Love, Porzingis, and John Wall are not included, as well as DeMarcus Cousins are not included on this list. So if there's a player that made the All-Star team but got injured. Alright, so without further ado, let's actually go through the roster here, look at all the teams and who are not on them anymore. So of course, starting off with the 76ers, Joel Embiid is not going to be on the team. We got rid of him since he was an All-Star player. On the Bucks, we have no Giannis. On the Bulls, we do have everybody. Cavaliers wouldn't have had Kevin Love, but he got injured. So lucky for them, they are not going to be losing him. The Celtics are out Al Horford as well as Kyrie Irving, but their team is actually still super good, just showing how good the Celtics team might actually be this season. Clippers not losing anybody. The Grizzlies not losing anybody. Hawks, of course, not losing anybody. And the Heat, surprisingly, actually lose a player in Goran Dragic, who only got into the All-Star game because of John Wall, Porzingis, and Kevin Love getting injured. Up next, the Hornets, they lost Kemba Walker. The Jazz actually did not lose any of their players, which I don't think will be the case this year. Donovan Mitchell probably going to make that All-Star team. The Kings not losing anybody. The Knicks would have lost Porzingis, but of course he got injured, so he's going to remain on the roster. The Lakers are out LeBron James, who they just picked up this year, but now they're losing him, so they should be one of the worst teams in the league in this simulation. The Magic got all their players. The Mavericks have all their players. The Nets have all their players. Nuggets have all their players. The Pacers losing out on Victor Oladipo. The Pelicans with no Anthony Davis. The Pistons lose out on Andre Drummond. They still got Blake Griffin though, so they still should be a pretty good team. The Raptors have Kawhi Leonard because he did not play last season, so he didn't make the All-Star team. They lose out on Kyle Lowry though, so they're not going to have their point guard. Instead, going to have Fred VanVleet playing for that. The Rockets losing out on James Harden, but still going to have Chris Paul on the team. So the Rockets should still be one of the top teams. The Spurs losing out on two players, DeRozan and Aldridge. They're two top players on the team. So the Spurs actually looking like one of the worst teams now. The Suns keeping everybody. The Thunder are going to lose out on both Paul George and Russell Westbrook. It's actually kind of interesting to see how some teams not losing anybody and other teams losing 2-3 players. Just wait till we get to the Warriors though. The Timberwolves losing on Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler. I mean, Jimmy Butler probably won't even play for the Timberwolves this year. He's supposed to be getting traded. No news on that yet. Trailblazers losing Damian Lillard. The Warriors would have lost their whole starting lineup, but luckily for them, DeMarcus Cousins was injured and didn't get a play in the All-Star game. So instead of losing their whole starting lineup, they only lose 4 of their players: Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green. That is insane. How literally all of their players would have been in the All-Star game last year if it wasn't for DeMarcus Cousins getting injured. And lastly, the Wizards, who actually lose Bradley Beal. They would have lost John Wall as well, but of course John Wall injured, so he is not going to be lost for this team. Anyways, we're going to get right into the simulation now. See how the NBA plays out when all these teams lose their players. In every simulation, it is Warriors Raptors in the NBA Finals, and the Warriors win literally every single simulation in 2K19. So we actually do know how it turns out without the players losing all the... So we actually know how it turns out when all the All-Star players are in the league, but now we're going to find out if every All-Star player got just straight up deleted from the league. Leave your comment down below on who you think is going to win. Okay, so we've simulated to the actual All-Star selections for the 2019 NBA season, of course, when we got rid of the 2018 All-Stars. And there's a lot of people, first-time All-Stars on here, or guys that actually would never even make the All-Star team in their NBA career. But anyways, let's just get right into these All-Star lists. for 2019. So the two starters, the two team captains are going to be Chris Paul and Kawhi Leonard, which makes a lot of sense. So first off, let's start off with Chris Paul's team. He's a 10-time All-Star, as well as a lot of the guys that were All-Stars last year but were injured. It still actually counts them as an All-Star selection because obviously they were, but we're just not counting them in this video. But anyways, on Team Chris Paul, we have DeMarcus Cousins, John Wall, Nikola Jokic, and Marc Gasol as our starting five. So they actually have 3 centers starting on their team, which is ridiculous, and 2 point guards. Not sure how that's going to actually work out for them. But then the Team Kawhi starters are going to be Kawhi Leonard, Blake Griffin, Ben Simmons, Devin Booker, and D'Angelo Russell. So 3 first-time All-Stars for the starters on Team Kawhi. And then the reserves for Team Chris Paul, it's going to be Gordon Hayward, Rudy Gobert, Hassan Whiteside, Pau Gasol, Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, and Reggie Jackson. So a lot of those players would not make the All-Star team. Some of the Pau Gasol, I mean, he used to be really good, but not so much anymore. Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Chris Middleton, definitely not even talked about as being All-Stars. Then the Team Kawhi reserves, we got Kevin Love, Porzingis, CJ McCollum, Mike Conley, DeAndre Jordan, Steven Adams, and Dennis Schroeder. So kind of interesting, Kevin Love, Porzingis, who actually made the All-Star team but were injured, aren't even on the starters on this All-Star team. We're going to go into the playoffs now. That's just the updated All-Stars. And let's get to the playoffs, see which team does the best, and get on with the video. Okay, so we made it through the entire NBA season without last year's All-Stars. Chris Paul gets MVP, 23.7 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 12.3 assists, so which is actually a super good stat line, averaging a double-double, 2.4 steals as well, shot 40% from 3, 49% from the field goal. Just an all-around good stat line for Chris Paul there. Luka Doncic getting Rookie of the Year. Larry Nance Jr. with the 6th man. Kawhi Leonard gets Defensive Player of the Year. Dennis Schroeder actually gets Most Improved Player. And check out his points per game, 30 points per game. Without Westbrook on the Thunder, he's actually starting, and he did so well. Like, that is insane. Dennis Schroeder definitely not pulling that off in real life in the current NBA. Coach of the Year goes to Nick Nurse of the Toronto Raptors. So looking like the Raptors might be one of the top teams. Rockets definitely going to be up there as well. Checking out the All-NBA first team, we got Chris Paul, John Wall, Kawhi Leonard, Ben Simmons, and DeMarcus Cousins. All of these guys are All-Stars in real life as well. Ben Simmons might make the team this year. Second team, we got Schroeder, Booker, Porzingis, Griffin, and Jokic. And then on the third team, D'Angelo Russell, Mike Conley, Kevin Love, Aaron Gordon, and Marc Gasol. Defensive teams, we can go over these really quick. Kawhi Leonard, Gobert on there, John Wall, Drew Holiday. We got Covington, Kyle Anderson, DeAndre Jordan, then all the all-rookie teams. So some of these guys would probably do a lot better with the NBA now without all the All-Stars in it. But let's actually check out the standings for every team. See how the teams play. So in the East, it's going to be the Toronto Raptors with, of course, Kawhi, easily the best player in the East now, with some players actually getting rid of, such as like Kyrie Irving. I mean, he'd probably be the only one to even compete with Kawhi Leonard in the East for that best player. The Wizards are up next. Of course, they still got John Wall. The Hawks are actually one of the best teams in the East, which is so surprising they made playoffs. I was not expecting that. The Bulls are up there as well. I mean, they got a pretty good team this year, but I don't know if they're a playoff team in real life. The Celtics, of course, they're going to still be up there. Hayward, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they still have a super good team without Kyrie and Al Horford. The Heat are up here. They got D Wade and Hassan Whiteside, 2 main guys there. And the Cavs, of course, pretty much the same team as they're going to be this year without LeBron James, though. Kevin Love kind of carrying them. And then the Brooklyn Nets going to be the last team making it into the playoffs. The 76ers barely not making it. Same record as the Nets. The 76ers, of course, with Ben Simmons. Magic, Hornets, Pacers, Pistons, Bucks, and Knicks all not making it. Surprised the Knicks didn't do a little better. Definitely I mean, that's one of that is the worst record in the NBA. We're moving on to the East, though. The Nuggets, the top team in the East, they didn't actually lose out any of their players. They still got Millsap, Gary Harris, Jokic. Actually, surprising, Gary Harris up to an 85 over Millsap. The Rockets, of course, making the playoffs. We got the Mavericks, Suns, Warriors still up near the top there. They still got DeMarcus Cousins, but lost their 4 other starters. A lot worse, though. We got the Grizzlies, Utah Jazz, Lakers getting that last spot in the finals right there. OKC with Dennis Schroeder, who averaged 30 points, not making it. Kings, Pelicans, Spurs, Clippers, Timberwolves, and then Trailblazers, the worst team, even though they still got CJ. But now we're going to actually check out the stats, the season stats, the league leaders right here, and it is Dennis Schroeder at the top, 30 points per game. Then we got Boogie, who actually averaged a double-double. Devin Booker, then it's going to be Kawhi Leonard, CJ McCollum rounding up those top spots there. Let's take a look at the top 10, though. Blake Griffin barely out of there. Then we're going to go to rebounds per game. It's going to go to DeAndre Jordan. Boogie is actually 9th on the list. Of course, he was 2nd for scoring. Assists per game is going to go to Chris Paul. I bet it's Alonzo Ball. Steals, Chris Dunn actually getting more than Chris Paul. That's surprising. 2.7, just 2.4. Kawhi in 3rd right there. Blocks per game is going to go to Porzingis. Okay, I was actually not expecting that one. And let's actually find out the best plus minus in the NBA. It's going to be Kawhi Leonard. And this is actually dominated by a lot of Raptors players. So it's looking like the Raptors might be the best team in the league. The Rockets, they got Chris Paul, but other than that, I mean, the whole Raptors lineup on this plus minus. So just when that full team is on, they are doing so well. We got some more Rocket players here. So I'm thinking it's going to be Raptors-Rockets in the finals. The Nuggets did really well as well, though. So might be the Nuggets. Either Nuggets, Houston, and 100% I think it's going to be Raptors in the East. So let's find out here. Let's simulate the first round of the playoffs. See who ends up moving on. I'm expecting all the top seeds to easily make it. Okay, so we had a few close games. We had a lot of blowouts as well. There's no 4-0s, though. A lot of 4-1s. Raptors win 4-2 against the Nets. Celtics winning 4-1 against the Bulls. This is going to be a really good matchup. Toronto, Boston, the 2 best teams, in my opinion, in the East. Atlanta losing to Miami. Washington barely beating Cleveland in Game 7. And it's going to be Denver 4-1. The Warriors actually come back. The Suns were up for a bit, but the Warriors end up coming back, still making it on from the first round. Dallas beating Memphis, and then the Rockets beating the Jazz. So let's simulate another round right here and see who moves on in the second round. Houston up in the lead. Toronto with a 3-0 lead. Looking like the Warriors might beat the Nuggets. Toronto actually moves on. The Heat move on in the East as well. And the Nuggets are eliminated by the Warriors. And then the Rockets barely scraping by the Mavericks. So I definitely thought the Nuggets were going to beat the Warriors. The Warriors, I mean, only having DeMarcus Cousins right now, they still have a really good bench. But it's good up to Warriors, Houston, Toronto, Miami. If this is the same as normal with the Warriors and Raptors making the NBA Finals, that is going to be kind of upsetting that nothing really changed when we got rid of the Warriors' 4 best players. Miami actually might make it into the playoffs. Toronto coming back a bit. And who's going to be eliminated? It's going to be the Miami Heat making the NBA Finals. And it's going to be the Houston Rockets. So 2 Game 7s. Miami up to a big lead. Raptors almost came back. And the Warriors almost beating the Rockets right there. And the Rockets only losing Harden. They still have a super good team. So good series by the Warriors. Surprised that the Raptors lost to the Heat. Because the Heat, I mean, they're not really the best team. I definitely would have put the Raptors over them. But they lose by 5 points in that final game there. Let's see who wins the NBA Finals. Rockets versus Heat. Heat with the 1-0 lead. All tied up at 1-1 now. 2-1 for the Miami Heat. 2-2 now. All tied up yet again. 3-2 for the Heat. The Heat can win it here in game number 6. Let's see if they can. Okay, so the Rockets have a really good game 6. They end up winning by quite a bit, 17 points, and it is going to go to game number 7, the Rockets versus Heat. And the Houston Rockets end up winning the NBA championship. So let's check it out. Chris Paul, of course, going to get that Finals MVP, and MVP of the regular season. 38 minutes per game, 20.6 points per game. So not as high as the regular season. He was still dishing out assists, 3-point percentage, everything a little lower than the regular season. But the Houston Rockets win the NBA Finals right there. The Heat right behind them. So stuff a little different in the NBA. A lot of things still kind of the same. The Celtics didn't do as good as they normally would. Of course, the Warriors almost getting to the finals. We got a lot of teams that would not even be in the playoffs. Suns, Mavericks, Grizzlies, all just terrible teams in the past year and making the playoffs here. Same with the Hawks. They would have been one of the worst teams in the East, but they make it. Cleveland a lot worse this year. They still end up making the playoffs. So getting rid of the 2018 All-Stars completely changes the NBA. It's a whole new game. We see the Rockets winning, though, just because of the Chris Paul not making that All-Star team. I mean, he still kind of does deserve an All-Star position. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy it, though, definitely smash that like button. And let's go for 500 likes. If we can get higher, we can get higher. Anyways, this has been your boy Smequle, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Never in the same space that we started at. Throw the ball, I run the play like a quarterback. I've been up all night trying to make a stat, trying to get a plaque and flip a dream into a solid fact. Hustled hard for it. One day they will notice. Chasing in the day.